Hi, how are you today? My name is Shannon and this is my YouTube channel, Whiskey and Wool, and this is my Knitters Life series, Season 5, Episode 2. How are you? I hope you're doing well. You just watched a little intro to Vogue Knitting Live. I went to Vogue. It is Sunday, January 19th. I had to check my laptop. So yes, it's January 19th. It's Vogue Knitting Live weekend, and the show just ended around, 5 or 6 o'clock tonight. I went in for Friday night, and just had an amazing time. I met up with a few friends. It was really lovely to hang out with fellow knitters and just spend time shopping and talking about our projects and life, and so it was just amazing, so good. I did some shopping, so I'm gonna talk to you today probably about half this episode is gonna be about Vogue and my experience at Vogue, just showing you my process of what I bought and stuff, and then also catching you up on my knitting projects. I have some updates. This is Martha, my mannequin. She's wearing one of my whips. I don't have any finished objects this time around. Oh, I'm wearing Funfetti by Sylvia Watts Cherry. I knit this a couple years ago out of Lamb & Kid Todd. I think it's called Todd DK. I'm pretty sure it's a DK because I know she has a worsted. I don't think it was the worsted. Anyway. All the details will be down below, or you can check out my Ravelry project page if you're interested. And of course, my previous episodes from when I was knitting this. And on my project page, I try to remember to write the episodes that you can find me talking about the projects in. So you'll see the episodes tagged, and then you can go watch it if you have questions about my process. The only thing I would do different is this big wide neck. I don't love it. Wearing a t-shirt, a regular crew neck t-shirt underneath, and yeah, I wish it was a little bit more closed up. I just prefer more closed up necklines. Anyway, enough about that. Yeah, so I'm going to just talk you through what my Friday evening at Vogue. You saw a clip of me on the bus, and then when I landed in New York, got off the bus at Port Authority, and then a little bit of the show entry where there were a lot of artists who had who are exhibiting their work, and some artists were selling their work as well. Some it was, the exhibitions were quite large, so like one big piece. So it was really fun to see that. I didn't film inside where the booths are and stuff because I was pretty serious about shopping. I went in with a plan of, and I was looking for 2 different yarns, and I think I was successful with both. So I do want to say, though, if you're curious about what the shopping floor looked like, there were some clips posted on Vogue Knitting Live's Instagram, some reels where you could see they just walked down the aisle with a camera, showing a camera on the booths, so you could really see how it was laid out and stuff. Where I filmed the art was outside the ballrooms where the booths for shopping were set up. And they're just so fun to do. They're so fun to look at. The art is something that they sort of they started very small a few years ago and have just expanded. The other thing I noticed was, we have said since the pandemic that the show has gotten quite a lot smaller. And also, I think by virtue of needing to fill the space and make their money on renting the space, the organizers have allowed more diverse types of products in. Like there was somebody selling shoes that had like some wool components, and there was, just different like kind of wool adjacent, but also just sorry, Stampede just went by my setup here. My cats are playing, and yeah, so the show it evolves a little bit every year, and I would say that this year there was far more farm yarns than I've seen. They had a whole section that was farm yarns, which I've never seen that before at Vogue. So that was really great because one of the things on my list was very definitely a farmy yarn. I wanted a very easy, natural colored, undyed wool to go with some really lovely blue yarn. That's farm yarn that I got from, it's not exactly farm yarn, but this is a small maker. Jill Draper makes stuff. Her operation's super interesting. There's a lot of info on her web pages and stuff about her. She doesn't have any sheep, but she does a dye business, and she works with local farmers and small farms to get their wool and then she dyes. And her dye process is pretty interesting. She only dyes with blue, red, and yellow to make all the colors that she makes. So sometimes you'll see in the skeins, not this blue one of course, but other colors like maybe a purple or whatever, you might see little flecks of red or the blue in the purple skeins and stuff like that because of the way that she dyes her yarn. So anyway, this has been in my stash a real long time. I have a sweater's quantity of it. So anyway, I've had this in my stash probably since like 2019, 2020. I want to say actually it was right at the beginning of the pandemic I bought it. She did a special, like some of the many people did do some specials, some sales and stuff because they were losing money by virtue of not having the in-person shows anymore. And that's probably also why the pandemic was also the reason why Vogue has gotten smaller. The New York event anyway has gotten smaller. It felt smaller. Like we were able to make it through. The marketplace opened at 5. we had dinner reservations for 7:30, and we were able to, Lorian from Knitting Monologues or Yarn Love Turtle on Instagram, she and I shopped together. We shopped with a couple of Lorian's friends, lovely women who I just had a great time talking to and catching up with. We were shopping all together, the four of us at first, and then somewhere along the way we lost the other two, and it's just me and Lorian looking at stuff. So she had her things that she was looking for, I had my things that I was looking for. So I did buy this heritage wool. It's part of, so Indie Untangled partnered with, I'm not even sure who. I didn't do a big search on this yarn. I just saw it and felt it, and it was beautiful. And I had brought along a tiny swatch of the Jill Draper because I wanted to make sure that the thickness, because this is a pretty beefy fingering weight, not your traditional like superwash fingering weight. It's pretty chunky, so I wanted to make sure whatever I bought would hang with it. Like, 'cause I'm knitting them together in a project that I'll talk to you about when I get there. I try not to talk about future knits because I'm very mercurial in my future knits. Like, I have this vague idea of what I'm going to do, and then I end up not doing it, changing my mind and doing something else, pivoting. So I don't want to disappoint anyone, including myself, by committing. But I'm pretty certain I'm excited about this project, so we'll see how it goes. So anyway, it is 100%. Let me get it off my face. There we go. Now it's focusing on Martha. It's 100% Deboulet, which I've never heard of it. Grown in Montana and milled by Clara Parks. A 3-ply fingering, 355 yards for 4 ounces. So it's very definitely in the sport weight range, which I think will hang very nicely with this. They should knit together really well. It is the softest wool. So beautiful. I do need to just read up on this and get to know it a little bit, I think, before when I'm going to be knitting the project. I promise I'll have the story of the wool. But yeah, I looked at it and I was like, the label, I was like, I've never heard of Deboulet, but I know Clara Parks. So, and I was like, I know if she milled it, if she helped mill it, it's probably pretty good. It's probably really excellent wool. So, yeah, so I bought 2 skeins to go with the sweater's quantity of the blue. So these will be a future project. Whether they're going to be the project that I'm thinking about right now or another project, it'll be some sort of color work with the blue, and the blue being the main color and the white being the accent. But you can't go wrong with natural. I feel like I probably every year have a sweater that has some sort of natural wool in it. And I had about 1,600 yards of fingering weight wool from Green Mountain Spinnery that I've been working my way through, and that's practically gone. I have it's in the midst of being knit into a project that is snoozing right now. It's hibernating. Yeah, I'll get back to it. Yeah, so I picked that up there was an Indie Untangled booth, which I'm not sure I knew she was gonna have her own booth. It was a pretty big booth too, and there was like a different collection of wool. This wool, there were many colors. They were in a booth with, did I bring it over? With Murky Depths was in there too. And when I did the checkout, I was gifted this cute little notebook with a pencil and little flags, post-it flags, which is really great. Perfect for people that were taking classes. Like Vogue Knitting Live New York always has a really great collection of classes and things that you can take. I haven't signed up for a class in a long time, in a few years. I struggle to find classes that will challenge me, so I don't mean to sound, come off and sound, what's the word? Snobbish about it. It's just, I've been knitting a real long time. Like, I've been knitting 40 years. I was just making sure, a little bit more than 40 years. So I have a lot of experience. Plus, I was a knitwear designer, so there's not a lot that can surprise me. I really know fiber, so it's, yeah. Anyway, I just struggle with that. Once in a while, I see people teaching, like there's certain sort of famous teachers that I would like to take a class with someday, but I never seem to get to the sign up fast enough to get a seat in their classes. No, it's fine. Anyway, I was also looking for a fluffy yarn. I wanted it to be either Surrey or brushed cashmere lace weight, because I have been watching Stephen West talk about his Glow Along cowl that's coming up, and he's released the pattern on Friday morning. The only reason, or I shouldn't say the only reason, the primary reason that I'm interested in making it is because as I was looking at the pattern and listening to him talk about it, or reading what he posted about it, I thought to myself, I think I have enough cashmere lace to get myself practically all the way there. And then I realized that it was 8 colors, because I have 4 colors of cashmere lace. And I realized it was 8 colors, so I started to look at some Surrey that I had, Surrey silk lace weight that I had, and I thought to myself, I think I can make a palette that's going to work for this shawl. So I laid out all the yarn Friday morning to just see what I had. I'll show you, put a picture on screen here of that, of me pulling out everything I had, and I realized that I have 7 of the 8 colors. So I made a swatch card in the order in which I wanted them to lay in the pattern, and thought, all right, I'm going to find one more color that'll fit in one of, it's going to go in with this palette somehow. Like, I was thinking, because I have, this one right here is Floral Morganite, which actually, did I bring it over? Here, this. Hold on. I have this, so this is a really hot coral color. I don't know if you're seeing it as hot as it actually is. Like, it's very bright, almost fluorescent, by La Biname. And I bought a sweater's quantity of it, and I have 1.5 skein and a dab, I would say, not even a half. I panic bought another skein at the show because I realized that a couple of the colors need to have 500 yards, and the colors that I have that have more than 400 yards or even more than like 350 are not in the places where the almost 500 yard, 450 yard amounts are. So I was like, at least I'll have another option, and I love this color, so great. But without further ado, let me show you the color I bought. This is the color I bought. I really wanted something that would be more kind of in between the peachy and the pink, and I think I did that. So it's on the peach scale. This is super interesting yarn. It is from a Peruvian maker called Kinu, and she calls the colorway Pink Lemonade, but the blend is something I've never seen. It is, oh my goodness, sorry about that. the focus. There we go. It is 54% baby alpaca, 22% super kid mohair, and 24% mulberry silk. I've never seen a skein yarn made with both mohair and suri. It is really soft. She said to me, this is going to be as soft as cashmere. And I whipped out my card and I said, I hope so, because I'm knitting it with cashmere. And yeah, so I was so excited. I really think it goes well with the mix here. I did, before I found them, the other interesting thing about them, it was very affordable. The yarn was very affordable. These are 25-gram skeins, and they are 218 yards. So, I mean, your normal suri comes in a 50-gram skein, and it is 328 yards. So it's a little bit more yardage, I think, because of the mohair, because mohair tends to be a little thinner, and you get a little more yardage with it. And what was I going to say? Oh, she was really adamant about that their product does not have any man-made fibers. It's all natural, and so that was why they ended up developing this blend, because she wanted to steer clear of the man-made fibers that take forever to break down in the landfill. So I thought that was really cool too, like a sustainable brand, you know. Before I purchased hers, though, I did see this color at Asylum Fiber. It was just one. She only had one skein, and I was really looking to buy 400 yards or more, just so, again, that I would have more options with the heftier, the sections that have heftier amounts of yardage. So she only had one color, so it ended up being just a 328 yard skein, but it's not doing exactly what I wanted. I mean, it would end up like falling in between these two, this like very, very pale color and this floral morganite. That's where it would have landed, and I don't know if it would give me as much contrast as I'm gonna get with this sort of dusty peachy color. I know the colors are looking a little dark, so it's an evening here, and you know, pitch black outside, so I'm using all artificial light. But what I'll try to do, because I don't think I'm going to edit tonight, I will try to do some some close-ups, so you can see the colors. In fact, I'll pull out all the skeins so you can see them all together and see how they're all going to lay out. Because I actually haven't done that yet. So that would be fun. I did a lot of hand wringing yesterday, especially over the which two colors were going to be the ones that were going to make it for those bigger yardage sections, because I just wasn't finding, like, there's two big yardage sections together. Anyway, I'm planning to cast this on soon, like probably by the next episode, I'll have at least a little start on it. He's doing his knit along is happening starting next weekend. But I think I'm going to do a little cheeky pre-cal cast on, just because it's kind of like, I like to get the beginning part out of the way so I can get to the real nice, like, where you're just cruising kind of thing. So I'm excited. Curious if anyone else is gonna be joining that cal. I said to my friends, you know, this is very pretty, and these are all leftovers of things that I made, with the exception of this bright pink, which is a suri from Lamb and Kid. I had purchased it for something and ended up not using it. But they're all leftovers, and I was saying, like, you know, I'm not really a pink person. Like, I like pink, like as well as so many other colors, but I'm not like, oh, I have to knit pink. And I know some people are really, really pink crazy. And I said, you know, I'm gonna make this because I have the yarn and I love Stephen West patterns, but I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. We'll see. I'll have to see how I feel about it. But I do think it's going to be really beautiful. The pattern is written so that you never knit just with one color. You're always holding two together. So the two that are laying next to each other. So you'd knit with these two together and these two together and these two together and these two together. And you just keep like switching out one of them. So you end up with this really beautiful marl. And I really couldn't tell that that's what was happening when I was looking at the pictures of the shawl. I did try to carefully count how many colors there were in it. I think I did figure out there was 8 before the pattern launched. But yeah, so that was my Vogue adventure. Oh, no, not quite. I bought some fiber. So Wing and a Prayer Farm was there. You know I love her, Tammy from Wing and a Prayer. This is the postcard that she's most recently giving out to along with her purchases. She has a really great online shop presence. She's a small farm, sheep to skein operation, or sheep to roving operation as well, where she does all natural dyeing herself. And she I think she has a mill process the wool, and then it comes back to her undyed, and she does the dyeing. That's my understanding of it anyway. But she's such a great follow on Instagram. She has a Patreon, and yeah, so really, really awesome maker who I love, and I often purchase from her. Am I knitting anything with her right now? No, not right now, but soon. So we went in her booth. Saw her booth. Of course, I had to go in there. She was selling these quilted project bags that were so beautiful that Lorraine was interested in looking at, and she had about maybe 20 of them in the booth. The booth was packed. It was minuscule and packed. It was like the size of my bathroom, which my bathroom's very small. And it felt like being in there, like as if I were in my own bathroom with like 3 other people. Only it was like probably 20 people in the booth. It was very crowded. And we looked at the bags. There were a lot of them. And I saw this fiber that she had dyed, and I was, we were just looking to see what she had. I have 2 sweaters quantities of her yarn that, balloons. I haven't quite figured out how to turn off the Mac. Oh, it's doing it again. So, okay, if you do this, you get balloons. 2. I can't make it. I can't win for losing here. Can't make it work when I want it to. Anyway, I haven't figured out how to turn off this thing. So like if you do the thumbs up, you get the thumbs up bubble, and you can do hearts and you get hearts. It's very funny. Actually, there we go. That one I got. Anyway, sorry about that distraction. So yeah, we went. It was super crowded. I saw the fiber. I thought it was really pretty. I was a little taken aback by the price because I thought it was a 4-ounce bat, and then I realized it was an 8-ounce bat, and I was like, oh wow, that's actually a good price. We left because it was crowded. We had other places to go and things to see, so we went out and about. We had a whole nother floor to do. Did more shopping, and then we had some time to kill. So before our dinner reservations, so we decided to circle back around to some of the vendors that we had seen on the 5th floor, because it's on 2 floors, 5th and 6th, that we'd seen on the 5th floor. We circled back to them, and we just went back. Lorraine was trying to figure out some of her purchases, and I was figuring out some of mine and just thinking about different purchases. And actually, funny that I was saying she was thinking about her purchases. She didn't end up buying any yarn. She was looking for a particular yarn, and it turned out that a vendor that she thought would have it ended up not having it, but she did get the yarn. It was coming the next day, and she had a friend pick it up, so she did get the yarn. But she can tell you that story on her channel if you're curious. So yeah, we went back into Tammy's booth so Lorraine could look at the bags again, and by then they had 2 out of the 20 left. They were so pretty, and they were a good price. I wish I needed a project bag. And we left. We went somewhere else, and then I was debating over the fiber. I was like, I was thinking out loud, should I get it? How much did I spend already? Did I hit my budget? And I was like, I really didn't hit my budget. Like, I didn't hit what my limit for what I limited myself to spend. I hadn't hit it yet. And I was like, I think I really want it. I think I really want the fiber. So I went back and picked up the fiber, and I'm going to show you this. I've already spun some of it, so I'm going to show you the bat. I've taken it apart a bit, but this is basically what I saw. A big fluffy bat that looked like this and this. It's indigo dyed in 3 different shades of indigo, and then there's also some natural white. I'm filmed some footage of me looking at this fleece and figuring out how I was going to spin it. So I'm going to have you watch that, and then you'll come back. And this is the end of my Vogue after this little spinning journey, which is going to be like maybe 5 minutes. I'm going to talk to you about my whips and stuff, my projects. So see you in a minute. I thought I'd talk you through my fiber prep for my next spin, mostly because I don't think this bat is going to stay put together like it is right now, the way I purchased it before I film again. So anyway, this is some beautiful Valise black nose fiber that I got from Wing and a Prayer. It is a huge 8 ounce bat, naturally dyed with indigo, she told me. I bought it yesterday at Vogue. You can see the, fiber that's hand dyed and prepped by hand by these small makers. The pricing is I thought was a great price. Actually, it's selling for $10 an ounce. For the what I got. Like, yes, I could get commercially prepared fiber for much cheaper, but this is pretty special. I'm going to put a picture of the Valise black nose on screen. They're so cute. And Tammy of Wing and a Prayer started her flock a few years ago of those of that breed. And they're really cool. But anyway, I'm so excited to spin this. Beautiful fiber. That's a dark blue, not a gray. Hopefully I can color correct in editing. And I opened it up before I purchased it. I didn't even open it up all the way before I was like, yes, I'm going to buy this. I really love this, this neutral color. It's got like kind of a pinkish cast to it, if that makes sense. So I am gonna just look at this and figure out the best way to spin it. At 8 ounces, I love to make 3-ply. So at 8 ounces, I should be able to get 2 skeins of 3-ply. That'll be 4 ounces each, which means 6 bobbins, to spin 6 bobbins for it. So I completely opened it up so you can see. It was actually, the fibers are mostly laying this way. It is a woolen prep, which means the fibers are kind of going in every different direction. So it's in a striping pattern, and if I were going to spin in the direction that it was carded, I would spin strips this way, but I don't want to. I want them to blend. So I think I'm gonna just pull off a strip this way and spin it and see what happens before I prep the entire bat. But it's just magnificent. I'm gonna show you the whole thing as best I can. It's laying on my bed, but there, you can see it's a lot of fiber. So here's what it looks like. This is just about 10 grams, about a third, little less than a third of what will be a full bobbin. Not full. These bobbins holds up to 60 grams. 50 is about right for them. And then my jumbo bobbins, which I ply on, can hold up to 150 grams. Yeah, so anyway, it was super interesting. You can see the way the stripes worked out. The natural color, this one, or the way that the colors ended up sort of creating a stripe pattern from this side to that side, and then underneath is this color. So if you had X-ray vision, you could see this color, I started over here and went this way, and then it slowly turned into the blue, that first shade of blue. I had a little misstep. I was spinning a little too thin, so it was breaking, had a little breakage, but I can just get this back in the next batch that I attach. So I think this is what I'm gonna do, like in this order. And then I may end up doing a 2-ply because I do have to spin a little thicker than I anticipated. But I'll figure it out. So if I end up doing a 2-ply, I'm gonna do 6 bobbins for the entire bat, and if I have to do a 6-ply or a 2-ply, I will have 3 skeins. That will be slightly smaller than 4 ounces each, so they'll be like 3 ounces, a little less than 3 ounces a piece. So we'll see. I did get a little bit of blue from the indigo from that last color on my hands, but it washes right off, so no big deal. Doesn't really bother me. So anyway, I'm going to prep the bat now, sitting over here, and get the fleece torn into segments for the 6 bobbins that I'm gonna spin. And yeah, then it'll be all ready for me to spin over the next couple weeks. I grabbed my fleece book, the Fleece and Fiber source book, and I looked in the index and there was nothing about the Valise Black Nose. Oh, Blackface Mountain family. They'd be French, no? All right, anyway, I'm not going to have you watch me look through the book. I was hoping to find some information about them. But how about this? Next episode, when I have this fiber spun into yarn, I will talk to you about the breed, whatever I've learned at that point. I did finish 1 bobbin already, and I have a second one on my spinning wheel. That's about 1/3 of the way done. Yeah, you saw everything else that I had to say about the fleece. Love it. It's just been such a really great. I can't wait to wash the wool and see what happens in the soak, because fun things happen in the soak. Oh, I forgot. There was one other stop that we made. Lorraine decided to buy some cards, and this was one of the artists. So she's a printmaker, and I bought this tiny little book, this spiral bound book with knitting on it, and it's inside, it's graph paper. And I thought that was so fun. It's graph paper on one side and blank paper on the other. But it's just perfect for a knitter, right? I mean, you could do little doodles, or you could like record things. I mean, with this big spiral, I could put swatches in there. It'd be really fun. Who knows? It's just pretty to look at too. She had the original prints as well. So she had this original print. I'm sure somebody bought it because we were there Friday night. Saturday is the big day there. But anyway, the artist's name is Carol McDonald. CarolMcDonald.com. She's in Vermont. I saw a painting or a print that she'd done, an original print that was so cool. And I said to Lorraine, it was the end of the night, and I had my last $12 that I bought that with. I said to Lorraine, if I had seen her booth at the beginning, if I'd looked, we walked right by it. In fact, it's in the first clip when we were walking through the marketplace. You can see Carol and her booth when I turned around. But if I had looked at it, if I had looked at her art, and talked to her, I would have purchased something, and that would have been in my budget, and I probably wouldn't have bought a couple of the other things I bought, like maybe not that fleece. Who knows? But, you know, there's always the look back where you can just go to the website and pick the piece out and have it shipped to you. So I may do that. I'm gonna check it out and see. I mean, her show ended today, so she'll be home tomorrow, so perhaps the works will be on her website by then. Who knows? All right, on to my works in progress. This is the Mabel sweater by Joji Locatelli, and I have been working on it. It's been a very slow knit because I'm knitting on very small needles, on US size 3 needles or 3.25 millimeter needles. I'm currently knitting the sleeves. I can't remember if last time if I had cast off the bottom. I think I had. It's what's called a waffle stitch. It's like a rib. It's a rib-like stitch, so you're doing knits and purls, and then sometimes you're purling the knits or whatever. It's waffle stitch. I don't think there's any secret to how you do waffle stitch. So yeah, I'm currently knitting the sleeves. I'm doing 2 at a time. So this one I'm a little bit further on because I'm using self-striping yarn. I'm trying to balance out the colors. So where the olive yarn ends right here, and I'll film a close-up of this sweater too so you can see it. I'll film it in the daylight tomorrow. It should be beautiful, bright, sunny daylight because of all the snow. But where the olive ends is where I was holding stitches for the sleeves. So this big red section on both sides was the first color stripe that was on this skein. And then now I'm doing the blue, and I don't think I'm going to get too far into the lavender before the sleeves are done. But yeah, I haven't really done any modification at all. I think I'm knitting the 3rd size. It has a really nice sort of faux seam detail down the side. Hold on, I see you're not seeing it. I'm seeing it. There you go. Faux seam detail. Not on the underarm though. The underarm on this sleeve pattern were decreasing right at the underarm and right up where the at the beginning of round stitch marker is. And yeah, I'm knitting 2 at a time this way, like going back and forth, because I'm not that fussy about having an exact match. There is a way to knit so that you get an exact match where you knit them together and you do steeks. My friend Lorian just posted a video about it if you're interested in that method. She posted a tutorial about how to do it. I just decided that I did think about it using her method, or the method. It's not her method, but it's a method that she learned recently, and thought that, looked at, and saw there was no tutorial and decided that she would do one, which is great. Thank you for your service, Lorian. And anyway, I just decided I didn't really want to be that fussy about the colors being an exact match to each other because they're not matching the body. There's absolutely no green left in this self-striping yarn that I'm using. Oh, the self-striping yarn, in case you're new, the self-striping yarn is a handspun that I spun from fiber bumps from Loop Fiber Studio. Loop was at Vogue, but she never brings her fiber. She just brings her other yarn, which is a yin yang line. It's really gorgeous. So soft. Unbelievably soft yarn. So the fiber bumps she arranges the colors in kind of an interesting sequence. It's never, well, she does do rainbow order, but they're sort of rainbow-like often, but there's always like some twist. Like this one was very much not rainbow and very much like had twists in it in terms of the colors. So there were some colors that were incredibly bright, and then there were more muted colors. And in fact, so this skein, the second skein, is the same fiber bump, and it had this black in it and this tan color, which ended up right at the bottom here. of the hem. So I might, depending on how this goes, I don't think I'm gonna knit the black into the sleeves at all. If I need more color after the lavender, I think I'm gonna skip the black and go to the caramel, because there's a pretty decent amount of that caramel color, and I think that way it'll have more continuity with the body. But there was absolutely no yellow or green in this second skein, the second amount of this Bullseye bump. I probably put some pictures in here of the particular Bullseye bump. I ended up using 2 Bullseye bumps from her. One was this colorful one, and the other one was a white rainbow, very slight pale, very, very pale rainbow, mostly looking pretty white, although there were some moments, like I think you see it maybe here in this green, there's some bright yellow that got marled in there, and that was from that fiber bump. There's just little bits of it, like small sections of it in the yarn. So super interesting. It's been an interesting project, and yeah, I am looking forward to seeing how it all turns out. It's been on the needles a while. This is my last holdover from 2024. Okay, moving on. I think I told you everything I needed to tell you about that. A little progress on my, in my head right now, my Inge sweater by Lene Holme Samsoe. I may not be pronouncing that right. There's some accents in the name and stuff. But anyway, here you go. I did make a little progress. I think last time I barely had the first couple rows of color work. And yeah, really, really enjoying working on this. I cast it on, I got down to the color work and I set it aside to work on this and to start another project. And so I just got back into it a couple days ago and started to just move on it. And I was paused last time, so here's an update. Last time I paused because I was looking at the pattern and seeing that we were doing the raglan increases every other row, and whenever I've done that, it just doesn't work out for my size, because I have a pretty large bust line, full bust, for my rib cage. I have a small back and big rack, I guess is the saying, right? So my full bust is large for the rib cage and consequently my shoulders. I mean, I have like pretty decent shoulders, but they don't correspond with the full bust very well. So often if I'm making anything fitted, whether it's a sewing project or a knitting project, and knits are generally not fitted unless they're ribbing, and then that's conforming to your shape, which is great for me. You didn't do it. Okay, it didn't do it. It's bubbles. Anyway, just checking. So those work really well for me, but something that has is fitted and not ribbed, I have to make 2 different sizes for, one size for the rest of my body and a different size for my bust, or I do bust darts, like I do modified bust darts to make the garment fit. So I was a little concerned that perhaps the size and doing every other row raglan increase was gonna give me a really droopy armhole. Like, my max that I can handle is 10 inches of an armhole. 9 is perfect. 8 is fitted. So that's my tolerance range, between 8 and 10. I really prefer 9 for sweaters that are going to be slightly oversized, or you're planning to wear over like a shirt, or you're going to layer it over other things. So I started to be worried that perhaps I was going to get a real droopy armhole and it wasn't going to work for me, and that I maybe should have knit the smaller size and then considered doing bust increases, bust darts, to get to the full bust size that I needed. But I gave the pattern a closer read, and I've now knit one repeat, the red and blue diamonds, and I should hold it closer so you can see. So I did some measuring, and it looks like I'm gonna be okay. I think I'm gonna land around 9 inches. The spec is for 9 inches, but you know what? Row gauge. Whoever gets row gauge. I feel like I never get row gauge. I never get it, so I never pay attention to it. I really don't. I mean, I'll jot it down, but I don't usually stress about it. Instead, I do I do some measuring and just make sure that I'm hitting the measurement that works for my body. So yeah, that is the story with this. I think I'll be okay, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. There's a different set of increases that we do after I get through the first 6 inches of the yoke, and so we'll see. In that next 3 inches, I need to get from wherever it is in the circumference to the circumference I need for my bust. So we'll see. I'm prepared to do rapid increases should that be necessary. But what I really don't like are raglans that where the shoulders just kind of go. I mean, I don't have sloping shoulders at all. So I really don't want the shoulders to kind of go in this like angle. I need them to kind of go out and down, like build out and down. Anyway, I didn't talk about the yarn. Oh my goodness, I don't have a big beefy skein of the main color, but you can see it here knitted up. This is Renninger yarn from a small maker down in Pennsylvania, down because I'm in New Jersey and they're south of us. And I'm knitting with her Better Together DK. That was the fibers from Holly and Sweet Pea. It's from her 2024. And it's 100% natural colored merino wool. It is her darkest brown and her secret favorite. Don't tell the sheep. But yeah, really, really soft, delicious, squishy yarn. Just such a pleasure to knit. And I'm so happy with the way it's working with the colors. So that Jenny, this maker, I don't know if she has color yarn. She didn't have color yarn when I was purchasing this, but I had sort of landed on this pattern, knew I wanted to make this pattern with the yarn, and needed 2 colors. So I went hunting to my other indie small dye people and landed on Jill Draper. And I'm knitting with Jill Draper's rusty red called Carnelian, and I think you can maybe see some of that. What I was talking about before with the heathering of the red, yellow, and blue tones, although this would be primarily red and yellow. And the other color is called Echeveria, which I think is a plant. I'm not really sure. I've seen the color name used in other places, but it's kind of a nice pastel-y, like mid-tone blue-green. It looks a lot like the indigo dyed from A Wing and a Prayer. Kind of a blue-green, like sagey, maybe more blue than green. My little, I was going to say my chickens, because they are kind of my chickens. My cats are restless because they get a treat at 7, and it's 7. So they're like, wrap it up, Mom. Okay, not too much longer. Sorry, boys. I have a new cast on. I showed you last time I had purchased some Clinton Hill Cashmere. I think it's Aran or worsted. I think she calls it worsted, but I think on Ravelry it said it was Aran. Anyway, I was sort of stressing about the color, and I thought I wanted to make a shawl out of it, and I just decided that no, I was going to stick with my plan, which was to make a cowl. So I went hunting for a cowl pattern. And I landed on Carol Sunday's Bohemica pattern. So I started that. I'm about 1/5 of the way through. It has these big, chunky 15-stitch cables. I have never done cables this way, where you use 2 cable needles and you put, excuse me, sorry about that. You use 2 cable needles and you do like a weird crisscross. So you do like, the repeats are 30 stitches, and you do one set of 15 one time, and then you do the other set of 15 the next time in these cables, and it's just got all this texture and stuff. It's gonna be really awesome. Oh no, I'm like more than 1/4 of the way done with this. I think you only do 5 cables, and I've got 2 and a little bit done. But I only have 4 skeins, and I've knit with 1, so I mean I've knit up 1, so I'm gonna knit until my skeins are gone. But yeah, it's been really nice. This has become my bring it everywhere with you knit. It's generally pretty easy until you get to the cable round, and the cable rounds are many rows apart, so there's plenty of knitting to do in between. So yeah, that is that. And last, I just want to share with you before I go to give my cats their food. I spun half of my Advent spin, and I had decided before I bought the fiber that I was only going to do half, because I'm not sure I love the ply that I did. So I decided to spin, these are 4 of the 8 colors of the fiber I got in my Advent. They're from Kingdom Fleece and Fiber, who I think is another Vermont maker, or New Hampshire. She's somewhere up in the New England area. She did a 8-day, 8-box Advent where you opened a box twice a week for the whole month of December, for the December 1 to December 25th. So I had 8 2-ounce bundles of fleece that were a combo of BFL, Cormo, and Baby Doll, which is another really adorable sheep. Baby Doll Southdown, which if I can remember, I'll put a picture in of them. Oh my goodness, the cat. So yeah, I spun them in 1 bobbin and then chain plied them. And chain plying is like what you do if you've ever done like finger crochet where you've made a finger chain. That's chain plying. That is exactly what we're doing, chain plying. We're creating a loop as the wheel's spinning. We're creating a loop and pulling a piece of the fiber through, a piece of the yarn through the single ply, and then pulling it back, and then that becomes a loop, and then pulling it back, and that becomes a loop. I just don't know if I love the effect. I'm not that great at it. I've done it. I can do it. I can chain ply. But I don't know if I love the yarn it makes. And these have been soaked, so they've developed, floofed, whatever. I mean, they're really soft, but I'm not sure I'm doing the fiber justice. So I'm going to take a pause. I'm probably going to show you a couple more of these. I'm probably going to spin the rest during Tour de Fleece in the summer. I just want to think about what else to do, and I have a couple other spinning projects. So I want to get, my next spinning project is already on the wheel. It's the Wing and a Prayer fleece, and then after that I have a couple other projects, spinning projects that I want to work on. I have a sweaters quantity to make, and then I'm going to probably go back to the combo spins that I've been doing. Yeah, I mean, I love this one. I love the colors of this one. This is a lemon blueberry. I just love the mix of the lavender with those autumnal like golds and rusts. It's really pretty. This is mint chip. And these are colors that are in her regular lineup. This one is the gumdrop, which is that heathered red, blue, yellow. I don't know if you remember it from my last episode. And I don't know the name of this one. It's just kind of a purple. So yeah, that is that. I like these. They're mini skeins though. They're probably, I didn't count up the yardage. I did write down the numbers. I just have to do the math, but I would guess they're around 100 yards each. So they're mini skeins. Good for color work, I guess. And I would say that they're probably DK weight, if I had to guess. So that is it. That is all I have for you, and it is quite a long episode. I have something funny for you to watch if you're interested and you like cats. My older cat, he was doing a little bit just now. He's very dramatic at certain points of the day, and it's probably like twice a day. So when I was home during my winter break you know, I was home for like 8 days in a row, where, I mean, I went out, but I didn't stay overnight anywhere, but I was mostly home during the day. I wasn't working, and I was just loving like being able to lounge around. And I really noticed that like this guy twice a day does this whole dramatic howl thing that he does, and he drags this toy around, and I kept trying to catch him on film. I finally got him on film, so you can enjoy it. Oh my God, it cracks me up every time I see it, and I hear him, and I was playing it for him, and he was getting like, "Who is that? Who is that?" And I'm like, "Dude, that's you." Anyway, I hope you enjoy that. Yeah, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. We'll catch up again, and I'll have some updates. I hope I have a finished object by then. Hello, get going. Anyway, take care, and I hope you're well, and yeah, I look forward to reading your comments down below. Bye! What is going on, dude? Is everything okay? Did you bring us dinner? Thank you for bringing us dinner. You are very silly.